Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash, and ever honestly, the apostles and elders, great millstone and Shaloms that I can teaching his word throughout the four corners in true sincerity. I'm back with another lesson. We spend prayer, Ba'ashem Yahushua is edifying us to the elect. Alright, the true name of God is Yahweh. Alright, and his son's name is Yahushua. Okay. His son's name of the world calls Jesus is Yahushua. And Yahweh, alright, it means he is. Okay, and Yahushua means he saves or he delivers. Alright, and Yahweh is going to send Yahushua to deliver the elect, alright, from the four corners of the earth. Okay, and the elect consist of the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Alright, the nations that you see today that are at the bottom, alright, we are the chosen people of the scriptures. Alright, the curses go back to us. Okay, it's our forefathers that's being talked about in the scriptures. Alright. You know, but with that, you know, as you can see in the article, all right, you know, in the end time headlines, is RFK wants a wearable health tracking device for all Americans within the next 4 years. Okay, you know, we already know, you know, what this is. You know, Revelation 13:16, the mark, the MOTB. Right, these devils are gonna try to deceive. All right, you know, everybody really, and really promote it as a good thing. You know, it's for your health. Okay, so, you know, it's gonna benefit you. Right, but again, him being the devil, he will never tell you that it's the mark, it's the MOCB that the scriptures speak of. He will never tell you that his device is really just gathering information, you know, about you, where you are, what are you eating, all right, what are you doing, what time you go to sleep, what time you wake up. Okay, because why would you want to know, why would you want to put a tracking device, okay, for Americans, right? Where's the freedom? Okay, it says Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has unveiled a sweeping public health proposal to promote wearable health tracking devices for all Americans within the next 4 years, a plan he believes could revolutionize wellness across the nation. All right, again, they're gonna come and say it's for health. This is good for you, all right, you know, and it's not only gonna be health tracking devices, it's gonna be other things as well, you know, because you have Elon himself making Neuralink, you know, to heal people, you know. Well, we know this devil's mind. We know what he wants. All right, he wants to fulfill his NWO. All right, he's gonna do whatever it takes, no matter what lies he has to say, no matter what way it needs to be implemented. He's gonna do it. He's gonna try to do it. All right. You know, let me get the scriptures. All right, it's Revelation 13:16. It tells you. Well, I'm gonna start at 14. It says, "And deceived them that dwell on the earth, by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should not both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." So, you know, Esau is going to cause, you know, his MOTV to perform, you know, certain miracles. All right, you even have studies now where, you know, going back to Elon Musk Neuralink, people that were, I believe it was an article, it was, you know, a couple of years back, you know, somebody that was basically like, he was disabled, right? He was in a electronic wheelchair, and he used his Neuralink to play Call of Duty, right? That's what they're gonna use. They're gonna use it to what? To try to cure, you know, to cure blindness, to cure people that are paralyzed. It's, you know, this is basically advertising, all right, the mark of the beast, all right. But we know what it truly is. It says, "And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." So without this mark, okay, without this device, because it's gonna be an actual physical device, all right. The mark of the MOTB is not sin. It's not sleeping with white women. All right, it's not another doctrine. It's gonna be an actual physical device. All right, where Esau Edom, And when I say Esau Edom, I'm talking about the ones in rulership now, right? The so-called white people, so-called Caucasians. So they're going to try to implement a device within your skin, okay? You know, to track you, and not only to they're gonna say it's for health purposes, but it's really gonna be for, you know, the new the NWO, all right, for you to buy and sell, as it says in the 17th verse, okay? Because all your information, like your social security, even your health, tracking your health, all right, you know, your different payment options gonna be on one singular device to buy and sell, okay? You know, and to prove it, right? To show you it's talking about an actual device. You know, so you gotta go into words in Revelation 13 and 16. When you go into the word mark,
Strong's G 5480.
This is charagma.
Charagma.
This is a stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses. So not only is it going to be a device used to for buying and selling, it's going to be a mark, like a brand. It's going to be a branding, okay? And if you take that brand, all right, the Lord's going to destroy you, okay? You know, it may sound, you know, crazy. Why would God kill me for, you know, just putting, you know, getting branded, all right, you know, or putting a device within my flesh? Because it's not allowed. Okay, that is not allowed. All right, I'm gonna prove that as well. Okay, but when you go into the word charagma, the root word for charagma is charax. It says a pale or stake, a palisade or rampart, pales between which earth stones, trees, and timbers are heaped and packed together. It says from charaso, to sharpen to a point. It says akin to the idea of scratching. All right, and it's basically it's the device used that they're going to use to implement the MOTB, like a needle. All right, they're going to make a surgical cut within your flesh, okay, to put in. All right, you know, the MOTB. And the root word for charax is graphel. All right, this is going to prove it here. It says to commit to writing things not to be forgotten, write down a record. Okay, it says to write to one by idea and to write to one by writing in a written epistle to give information, directions. Okay, so when you take this device, right, it's going to give information. Who's it going to give it to? Esau Edom. Because when you take this MOTB, all right, it's not just something harmless. All right, it's not something just harmless that you could take. Oh, it's just going to be good for you. No, it's going to be feeding Esau Edom information. All right, it's going to transmit information from the MOTB to the cloud, to their cloud. And what they're going to know, they're going to have a record on you. All right, like it says here, a record. All right. Okay. That's why we tell, you know, and that's one reason why we tell our people not to take it. But it's you know, even worse than that. Okay, it's Revelation 14:9. It says, and the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So you take, all right, the MOTB, all right, you down for Esau's system, all right, you know, you're okay with Esau ruling in wickedness, okay, you're gonna receive, all right, the destruction that's gonna come upon, all right, you know, the world, you know, but mainly here in Babylon. Okay, or you're gonna be tormented with fire and brimstone. What can produce, you know, fire and brimstone in today's age? All right, nukes, all right, missiles, which these nations are going to use to shoot at America. Okay. All right. So that's the judgment, you know, for taking that MOTB, and it's more judgments as well. It's not only just that, right? Because you have Revelation 16 and 2. It says, "And first went and poured out his vial upon the earth." It's like, yeah. "And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image." So again, you take that, MOCB, all right, not only you're gonna get destroyed by the nukes, but when you take it, you're gonna have a grievous sore in the NLT. When you read the NLT, it says, "So the first angel left the temple and poured out his boil on the earth, and horrible magnetic sores broke out on everyone who had the mark of the beast and who worshiped his statue." All right. And we go into that word you go into that word noisome. It goes into troublesome, injurious, pernicious, destructive, painful. It says, of a mode of thinking, feeling, acting, base, wrong, wicked, of a bad nature. All right. And we go into that word sore. It's like right here. It says a wound producing a discharge plus a sore and ulcer. Because again, think about it, scientifically, right? You're taking an object within your body that's producing radiation, right? Because again, it's transmitting a signal, all right, that's feeding information to Esau, right? So it's feeding information, all right, because now Esau got 5G, right? So it's feeding information, feeding it to a cloud, and that's it's like it. That's feeding radiation, and it's in your body. All right, so if your body feels that, all right, and it's, it has a temperature to it, because it's feeding off heat, your body's going to attack it. Your body don't think this is a foreign object within, all right, my body, all right, in your body. So it's going to attack it, and while it's attacking it, it's going to cause, all right, a wound, all right, discharging with pus. Okay, and it's going to make you very sick. Okay. All right, that's why we tell you, Jake, don't take it. But how's going to be the way not to take it by repenting and turning back to the Lord? Okay, because if you don't have the Lord in that day, all right, then you're gonna take the MOCB because you have nothing to lean upon. All right, but we do. We have the name Yahweh Shem Shai, and we have faith, and we have the works now that we're doing today on our highways and byways. All right, like the men of old, like Yahweh Shai, like disciples, how they taught. All right. To our people, out on the street, outside, okay? Alright, let me get Revelation 3 and 10. It says, "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth." So, within that time, right, us that's going to get tried, Lord going to put the spirit on us to pass that test to keep us, all right, in the hour of temptation. This is going to be a trial for the whole earth, all right? Because if the Lord comes back, then you have that branding upon you, all right? The Lord's not going to deliver you because you're not His anymore. So what's going to happen? You're going to die, all right? Because you basically made the decision, all right, to serve your master, right, forever, to continue to be under Esau Edom's rule. So this is Exodus 21, quick. In 6, it says, "Then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an oil, and he shall serve him forever." So you basically taking an oil, a digital oil, right? Taking an oil and saying, "I want to serve my master forever." Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, when the Son of God comes back, right? It sees you with a chip in your hand or in your forehead, wherever you put it in your body, because it's not just about taking it in your head in your hand. All right, Jake go to because Jake, if I take it in my foot, if I take it in my calf, I take it in my butt, right? Then I can make it. No, if you take it, period. If you make that decision and say yes, I want to take the MOTB, all right, you chose your side, all right. You keep the faith, and Lord willing, the Lord keep us in that time. Us in the know, right? And you see it now. This is not nothing, far-fetched. They're talking about AI. They're talking about, they're talking about the Neuralink. You have, even had Joe Biden, a couple years back talking about, people having chips or devices put within their skin. You have Klaus Schwab, all right, talks about you won't own nothing and be happy. All right, that all comes with taking the MOTB. All right. That one is lesson was edifying. One give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, outside by Hashem, Abadash, and the honors to the apostles, and